The email landed in my inbox at 2:17 a.m., a digital grenade with no sender name, no greeting, just a subject line in all caps, urgent violation notice. The body was a single paragraph, typed in Comic Sans, of all fonts, accusing me of erecting unauthorized backyard structures in defiance of the Willow Lane Homeowners Association's sacred charter. I blinked at the screen, my coffee growing cold, half-con VY, and said it was a prank. Unauthorized structures? My fiancé, Ethan, and I had rented a pergola for our upcoming Weddinga delicate wooden frame draped in ivy, hardly a fortress. But when I stepped outside at dawn, there it was, a laminated copy of the same notice, duct-taped to my mailbox like a suburban scarlet letter. The paper fluttered in the breeze, its words screaming about Article 5, subsection C, and the audacity of my semi-permanent anchors, VY, OLADing the neighborhood's pristine lawn code. I laughed and stopped. Across the street, a curtain twitched in the house of Meredith Caldwell, the HOA president. Her silhouette loomed like a hawk sizing up prey. This wasn't a mix-up. This was war. My name is Clara Whitfield, and I'm not just any bride-to-be. I'm the daughter of Mayor Thomas Whitfield, a fact I'd kept quiet in our sleepy cul-de-sac to avoid whispers of favoritism. But Meredith, with her clipboard and her step-forward smile, had no idea who she was provoking. She thought she was policing a pergola. She was about to ignite a rebellion. The notice claimed our pergola, a rental for our backyard ceremony, was a fixed installation because its stakes touched the grass. Never mind that our neighbor, Greg, had a trampoline the size of a small planet, or that Mrs. Larson's inflatable unicorn from her grandson's birthday still bobbed in her yard. Meredith's laser focus was on us. Ethan, ever the optimist, suggested we call her to clear things up. She's probably just overzealous, he said, sipping his orange juice. I snorted. Overzealous? She fined someone for planting tulips because they weren't pallet approved. This is personal. I dialed the number on the notice, expecting a secretary. Instead, Meredith's voice purred through the line, all honey and venom. Clara, dear, I'm so glad you called. Rules are rules, you know. If I let your little tent slide, what's next? A bounce house? A neon sign? I stared at the flamingo statue in Greg's yard, untouched by her wrath. It's a pergola, Meredith, for one day. It's gone after the wedding. Her laugh was a knife. Oh, sweetie, precedent matters. You wouldn't understand. She hung up. I stood there, phone in hand, feeling the first sparks of fury. Within 24 hours, a second notice arrived, this time with a DUI, 300 fine, and a vague threat of escalated community measures. My maid of honor, Sophie, found it stapled to our front door, the staples driven in so deep they scarred the wood. Who does this? She asked, while VYing the paper. A dictator in yoga pants, I muttered. Meredith's next move was bolder, an email blast to the entire HOA titled Unsanctioned Events Threatening Property Values. It listed my wedding date in bold red, alongside a church picnic and a kid's graduation party, all labeled potential disruptions. She even attached a chart comparing our noise footprint to a construction site. Sophie posted a screenshot in the neighborhood Facebook group, captioned, "Is this woman for real?" Meredith's reply was instant. It's about standards, not feelings. Smiling face with smiling eyes. That emoji hit harder than the fine. I tried to stay calm. Ethan and I had dreamed of this wedding for years. String lights, we VYing through the oaks, a small crowd laughing under the stars, our vows echoing off the fence line. We weren't VYing it indoors because of Meredith's power trip. I filed a formal appeal, dropping it off at the HOA office, K. Meredith's garage. A handwritten sign greeted me. Backyard chaos kills curb appeal. Subtle. But the real blow came when a city inspector knocked on our door, clipboard in hand, looking baffled. Got a complaint about an unpermitted structure, he said, eyeing our pergola. You don't need a permit for this. Who called? I didn't need to guess. He left, muttering about busybody neighbors, but Meredith's campaign was escalating. She wasn't just enforcing rules. She was rewriting reality. Lawn signs popped up on nearby yards. Preserve our peace. no backyard bashes. A basket of blueberry scones appeared on our porch with a note. Let's chat. You seem tense. Meredith. Ethan wanted to toss them. I suggested we test them on the raccoons first. Then came the petition, slipped under every door in the neighborhood, a community safety survey, asking if residents felt secure living near high-traffic, high-noise events. The questions were absurd. Should tent renters undergo background checks? Do you fear property devaluation from unvetted gatherings? Sophie held it up, incredulous. Is this about your wedding? I nodded. Meredith was turning our love story into a suburban horror flick. Her next stunt was theatrical. She hired a compliance monitor, a guy named Vince in a tactical vest, who showed up during our rehearsal dinner asking where to set up surveillance. I was holding a tray of sliders, Ethan was flipping burgers, and this man looked ready to raid a cartel. Karen, Meredith said this was HOA sanctioned, he stammered. I pointed to the street. Private property. Out. Across the road. Meredith watered her roses, pretending not to watch. Sophie whispered, she's probably got a comms unit in her hydrangeas. Things turned darker when I caught her impersonating me. 3 local venues called to confirm last-minute bookings I'd supposedly made to relocate the wedding. The manager at Oakwood Hall was baffled. You're moving a 100-guest event in 4 days? I was leave-EYD. Meredith wasn't just meddling. She was sabotaging us. I confronted her at her door, keeping my voice steady. Meredith, stop calling venues as me. She tilted her head, all faux innocence. Oh, Clara, I'd never. But rain's in the forecast. Wouldn't want you disappointed. Her smile was a dagger. Some of us worked hard for our place here, she added, as if my joy was an affront to her property deed. The final straw came during a florist walkthrough. A drone buzzed overhead, low and deliberate, with an HOA sticker on its belly. I grabbed a rake and chased it, half laughing, half furious, until it veered off. Hours later, Meredith posted blurry screenshots in the Facebook group, captioned, "Unapproved structures detected." Sophie swore she'd accidentally spill wine on Meredith's white linen at the next potluck. Ethan, who'd stayed calm through it all, finally snapped. I'm calling your dad. I'd held off involving my father, not wanting to play the mayor's daughter card. But Meredith had crossed into vandalism territory. Our dog, Max, came home with green chalk smeared on his fur, and our fence bore the words "no noise, no chaos" in Meredith's unmistakable cursive. I marched to her house, Max in tow, and found her pruning azaleas like a suburban serial killer. Did you write on my fence? I demanded. She didn't blink. I was expressing community values. From the sidewalk, I leaned in. Stay off my property. She smiled. I was never on it. That night, we installed cameras. At 1:43 a.m., footage caught Meredith in a bathrobe, inspecting our hose with a flashlight, muttering about sprinkler violations. The next day, a noise complaint was filed over Ethan's ukulele practice at noon. The officer who arrived sighed. This about the wedding? I nodded. She's got a nickname at the station, he said. They call her Boomerang. Keeps coming back. Then came the unthinkable. My wedding dress, delivered early for a fitting, was found slashed from bodice to hem, still in its sealed bag on our porch. A lavender scone sat beside it, wrapped in cellophane with a ribbon. No proof, no prints, but the message was clear. I filed a police report, hands shaking. Meredith dropped off a condolence card. So sorry about your wardrobe mishap. Perhaps something simpler next time. Sophie poured me wine, while Ethan scoured city ordinances for harassment laws. I stared at the scone, my resolve hardening. Meredith didn't know it, but she just declared war on the wrong bride. I called my dad. She's gone too far, I said. He didn't hesitate. Let her dig her own grave. I'll make some calls. I didn't tell Meredith who I was not yet. I wanted her to keep swinging, us to the storm brewing. Her next move was a neighborhood watch alert, a memo in every mailbox warning of increased backyard activity. She enlisted her aunt, Gloria, a woman with a walker and a cockatoo named Admiral, to patrol our street with a whistle. Admiral screeched violation every 10 minutes. I wasn't mad. I was impressed. But during my bachelorette brunch, a quiet patio gathering with 5 friends, Meredith's sprinklers mysteriously activated, spraying our table. My friend Mia slipped on the wet deck, and when I looked up, Meredith was at her window, binoculars in hand, eating a yogurt. Ethan sent the camera footage to my dad with the subject, "We have a problem." The city responded subtly but swiftly. An envelope slid under our door, not from Meredith, but from the mayor's office. It was a polite letter announcing an audit of HOA governance to ensure ethical conduct and transparency. No signature, just the seal of the city. Ethan laughed. "Is this her cease and desist?" On city letterhead. Taped to it was a grainy photo of me with our caterer, time-stamped and labeled violation, unpermitted planning. Meredith had gone full surveillance state. She doubled down, calling an emergency HOA summit in her garage. But Paul, the treasurer, had had enough. He secretly recorded her ranting about external agitators and rogue brides undermining CIVYC order. When he asked how she justified fines without board approval, she snapped, "Authority doesn't need signatures. I am the system." Paul leaked the audio to the city's oversight committee. The fallout was seismic. The audit uncovered Meredith's dirty secrets. She'd been siphoning HOA funds not for community projects, but for personal upgrades. Dulaw 400 and peonies for her garden. Dulaw 150 for custom stationery reading from the desk of Madam President. Worse, she'd never been elected. 3 years ago, she declared herself president on a Zoom call no one attended, citing emergency leadership needs. She'd ruled unopposed, fueled by muffins and fear. The HOA board, led by Paul, called a public meeting at the community center. Meredith arrived, clutching a binder labeled "My Legacy," expecting to rally her loyalists. But the room was different. Neighbors who'd never spoken up brought folding chairs and coffee mugs, ready for a reckoning. Paul opened with a bombshell. Meredith had been forging votes and shredding complaints. When she tried to interrupt, he cited her own bylaws. 3-minute speaking limit. Her mic was cut. She kept shouting, but the room stared back, unmoved. The vote to remove her was 95 Fantram. Her cousin abstained, thinking it was about recycling bins. Meredith stormed out, vowing to appeal to the state HOA council, which didn't exist. But she wasn't done. Unshackled from her title, she went rogue. 2 days before the wedding, she filed a CIVYL suit against me, claiming emotional trauma from excessive merriment. The judge dismissed it as nonsense wrapped in legal jargon. Then, the night before the ceremony, we caught her on camera crawling through our bushes in a ghillie suit, whispering into a recorder about soil disturbances. Ethan laughed so hard he dropped his beer. The wedding day dawned golden. Our backyard glowed with fairy lights, the pergola draped in roses. I was in my new dress, heart pounding, when Sophie burst into the bridal tent. "She's here." Meredith stood at the gate in a floral maxi dress and a hat the size of a satellite dish, towing a man with a notepad she called a freelance ordnance enforcer. Our security guard, Tanya, former bouncer with a glare that could melt steel, stepped forward. "Ma'am, you're not in VY Ted." Meredith clutched her pearls. "I'm a community pillar." Tanya didn't blink. "You're a trespasser. Curbs that way." Meredith tried to slip past, but Tanya escorted her out with the grace of a ballet dancer, tossing out a drunk. Then, during the ceremony, we spotted her again lurking behind the fence, binoculars glinting. Tanya's floodlight caught her mid-crawl, mulching her hair, muttering about bar violations. The guests laughed. My dad took the mic. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my daughter Clara's wedding. And to our Yunin VY Ted guest, MS. Caldwell Municipal Code 12.4 says trespassers can be fined. Shall we discuss?" Meredith froze, then fled, her hat tilting like a sinking ship. The wedding was perfect. Laughter rang, glasses clinked, and for one night, Meredith's shadow didn't touch us. But she wasn't finished. A week later, she launched a blog, Willow Lane Betrayed. It was a 5,000-word screed accusing me of bribing the mayor, my dad, with cupcakes and claiming our string lights were a fire apocalypse. She posted grainy photos of our cake, captioned, "EVY Denke of collusion." The internet ate it up. A TikTok went viral. POV. You try to ruin a wedding and become a meme. Reddit dubbed her Law Invader. A remix of her item system rant hit Spotify's viral charts. The city council, smelling a PR disaster, held a town hall on HOA reform. Meredith showed up with a PowerPoint titled CIVYC Decay, one vow at a time. She ranted about confetti pollution until a counselor cut her off. Did you say glitter is an environmental crisis? The room howled. My dad stood. MS. Caldwell, were you aware your presidency was never ratified? She sputtered. I was the only one willing. He smiled. Power without votes is just noise. The crowd cheered. Then came the real twist. Paul dropped by with a folder. Meredith wasn't just fighting your wedding, he said. She was hiding something bigger. Inside were blueprints and receipts showing she'd been stealing public land. Over 2 years, she'd nudged her fence 12 feet into a city greenbelt, building a gazebo, a fountain, and a shed all on stolen turf. She'd used HOA funds to pay for it, forging grants and inventing volunteers. Her fines and surveys were distractions to keep eyes off her yard. We flew a Dronella Galleon, captured it all. Her fence, her fountain, her shed with a pirated power line from Gloria's outlet. We sent the EVY Denke to the city. The response was swift. A Dulaw 15,000 fine, a demolition order for her improvements, and a ban on CIVYC grants for a decade. Her land was reclaimed as a public park, Caldwell Commons, with a sign reading, restored from private encroachment for community joy. At the ribbon cutting, kids played on her former lawn, and Admiral squawked, "Move the fence." Meredith watched from her window, blinds twitching. She tried to swim. The city, even Tanya claiming wedding-induced defamation. Her paperwork, filed in Comic Sans, named the wrong defendants and cited a blog called Legal Eagle 420. The judge tossed it, saying, "This is a diary, not a lawsuit." The city countersued for legal harassment, and Meredith's lawyer quit when she demanded he cite her blog as precedent. Her fall was complete at the park's 1-year anniversary. The HOA, now a beacon of sanity, threw a festival on Caldwell Commons. Sophie baked cookies shaped like fences. Ethan played a ukulele cover of Infraction Reaction. Paul toasted, "To Clara, who fought for love and freed us all." My dad unveiled a bench engraved, "Community over control." Across the street, Meredith's lawn grew wild, her mailbox stuffed with unopened fines. Then, one morning, a MOVYing truck appeared. Meredith loaded boxes, her face grim, no VY sore in sight. Sophie sipped coffee on my porch. Think she'll terrorize her new neighbors? I smiled. Only if they dare to love. As her Prius vanished, the park lights flickered on, kids laughed, and our cul-de-sac exhaled. We hadn't just won a wedding. We'd rewritten the rules, turned a tyrant into a punchline, and built a legacy of Joy One Sparkler, one vow, one spectacularly Yunin VY, Ted guest at a time. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.